Thing called the claiming rule in amateur racing that says if you want, you can claim a competitor's bike. What is up, everybody? How's it going? So today we got the racing drama for you, the big racing drama, big names, big teams, lots of things in the bad. But if you didn't pay attention, you haven't seen, Loretta Lynn's happened last weekend, which is the big national amateur race. You know, all the kids with all the hopes and dreams and all their parents' money going down the tube go to race it in hopes that they win a championship and get picked up by some factory. And there is factory people there, obviously. Hayden Deegan racing, you know, Hayden Deegan, who is signed by Star Racing Yamaha, was obviously still an amateur, so still racing Loretta Lynn's. And there's this little thing called the claiming rule. And as far as I understand this, so bear with me if any parts of this is a little wrong, whatever. There's a thing called the claiming rule in amateur racing that says if you want, you can claim a competitor's bike. So like after the race, if you go on some podunk 1993 Suzuki 250 and you just say, you know what, I'm gonna go, and at the end of the race I'm gonna claim the bike of the person who won. You can do that, but to do that you have to pay 2 times the MSRP of that bike. So let's say a 250 is $80,000, you have to pay that person $16,000 for that bike. Now, as far as I understand it, I don't think there's an actual rule that says, you know, how much money you can actually put into a bike to race an amateur race. But the reason, like, the point of the claiming rule is to say, you know, is so that that kid who's going on a, you know, old 250 that doesn't have, you know, probably mostly stock, might have a pipe or maybe some cheap suspension on it, isn't going to go and race against a factory bike that has, you know, a full race engine, full suspension, full exhaust, you know, all the little weight-saving bits and pieces that you can only get from the factory. It's a good rule, makes sense, or a good counterplay to the rule, because obviously that all the extra pieces that you add to the bike does not count towards the MSRP. So if you have a $8,000 250 and you put $20,000 of pieces and parts and go fast stickers and everything on it, that doesn't count. So if you've got, you know, essentially a $28,000 bike, somebody can walk up and say, I'm claiming that bike, there's $16,000 for it. Obviously, if you're the person with the bike being claimed, well, that's a massive loss for you. That wouldn't even cover the parts, much less buying the bike back and doing it all over again. So that's what happened. Apparently, Hayden Deegan, on his Star Racing, you know, amateur, not trick motorcycle, got claimed. And apparently they didn't want to give the bike over because, let's be honest, it probably did have some pieces and parts and stuff on it that, you know, they don't really just want to, here you go, have a full-on race bike. If it was just a stock bike, there's no problem. Here, sure, take it. It's your loss. You're going to give me double the price for this bike? Nah, take it, sure. Obviously, being factory connected, being factory signed, being who he is as a, you know, connected to his dad and as a racer on his own terms, like being as hyped as he is, that bike's going to have some go fast bits that probably aren't available to the public, and if they are, they're probably super expensive and most people aren't going to go. So let's be honest, there is a handful. You can probably count 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 kids that are racing those nationals, that are factory supported, that have the money from, you know, have rich parents. It doesn't matter what they do, they can buy it whatever they want, that are perfectly fine. The majority of the people that go race those nationals are people who are putting everything on the line for their kids' hopes. You know, second mortgages on the house, you know, in debt hundreds of thousands of dollars, banking on the fact that hopefully at some point, you know, my kid shows that he is good enough to get a factory ride and get paid to do this, because otherwise people just fall into debt. I mean, if you ever watch any of these stories of people who go race nationals, you know, they're talking about putting money on credit cards, or putting gas on credit cards, putting hotels on credit cards, having absolutely no money, you know, feeding the kids, but you know, the parents are eating like a granola bar a day or something because they just don't have any extra to you know, fill it out. I mean, it's the Jet Lawrence story of like parents had absolutely nothing, sold everything, moved to a different country, and obviously it worked out for them because he was massively skilled. Question of the day: do you think the claiming rule is good, or do you think there should be some stipulation to it? Like, I was watching a video and the guy was saying 2% isn't, or like 2%, 2 times isn't enough. It should be 2.5 or 3, because then that dissuades more of the people who just decide, I don't like you, I'm gonna claim your bike. I'm assuming that probably doesn't happen very often, but you can't tell me it hasn't happened. Somebody's kid who decides, Daddy, he's faster than me, it's because his bike, go buy it for me. It's gonna happen. Understand the point of it, and I do get it that you don't want national, or like, you know, privateer kids going up against people who have like a $20,000 motor. Yes, a lot of the times skill and work ethic can make up a lot of a difference in equipment, but at some point it just becomes like you're at such a disadvantage to start that it's incredible. And apparently what's even worse about this, the kid, I don't know who he was, it's hard to remember all these facts. The kid who claimed the bike got taken into a back room and was being, you know, questioned, why would you do this? Why are you being, you know, this way? Why are you making this, da, 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 da. And it was like some official for, I don't want to say the the AMA, but it was some official. And the only person to be let in that room was Brian Deegan. Not the kid's parents. Wasn't Hayden Deegan in the room for Brian Deegan to be let in. No, it was Brian Deegan being let in to a back room with an official and somebody else's kid to be like, you know, why are you doing this? Come on, man. Like, you can't, why are you ruining our race? Like that's just wrong. You know, these are all amateur kids, underage, and you're going to sit there and bring one into a back room by himself and grill him about, like, you know, claiming a bike, which is fully within their right. But, you know, obviously the sport wants to protect their, you know, their golden boys, their money makers. So, I mean, that doesn't look good for anyone. Doesn't look good for Brian Deegan. Doesn't look good for the sport, the official, you know, for Loretta's for letting that happen. Not saying they'd let it happen, but you know what I mean? Like, at Loretta's, this is happening. Somebody's kids being brought into a back room and, you know, interrogated without his parents there, or never looks good. So you tell me, comments below, what do you think about this? Claiming rule good, the Deegan's bad, Star Racing bad, whatever it is. Do you think the money in the sport's bad? I don't know. Comments below, tell me what you think. I'd like to hear it. Personally, I think the claiming rule is good. If it's, you know, if it's fully meant to just keep the racing fair and it's not used as a retaliatory thing of like, you know, somebody has one bike and, oh, they won the first race, so I'm going to claim their bike and they can't go race the second one. Yeah, that I wouldn't go for. But if it is used in the right way, honestly, I think it sounds like a good rule. So you tell me, comments below. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, do all the fun things that this platform allows you to do, because it really does help me and I appreciate it a lot. You know, the algorithm is living by the algorithm, you know. Make sure to hit that little bell so you know when I'm posting more, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.